a couple months ago.
Yeah.
More so than it has been recently. I don't know what caused that shift. I don't know if Deathbright Shaman and Bug is suppressing this deck to some extent, but this was the hot news for a little while, and it sort of receded a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like there's always a constant battle in Legacy as to which deck is the best show and tell deck.
Yes.
And Omnitel definitely was for a little while. I believe, last I recall, it was around when I was working Kansas City last year. That was the last time I remember being really big, and it sort of has dwindled since then. And Sneak and Show has snuck back into the metagame, as it were.
Yeah, I think Sneak and Show is the best of the bunch, but
I think it certainly was. We did see someone enter the Infinite, so things might be changing in the guard.
Oh yeah, Cedric and I got to enjoy that match. Both players taking a mulligan here.
Yep. I know I recognize Ryan. He's definitely played on the Open Series before. I believe he has a top 8, actually. I can go ahead and double check that. If so, it might even be with Show and Tell.
And Michael, we actually had on camera earlier today playing against Enchantress, where game 2, the Enchantress player just curved Blind Obedience into Rule of Law and into Elephant Caress, and Michael just beat down with his elves.
Well.
Yeah, so he's had a good run today.
That's awkward.
Looked like he knew the operations of the deck pretty well, so probably not his first rodeo either. So I feel like in this matchup, I would want to be on the Omnitel side of things. I feel the deck's just a little bit faster. Having Force of Will is very valuable. And yeah, that's basically it. It's 2 combo decks. One of them is both a shade faster and has Force of Will. So yeah. I feel like I would want to be on the Omnishow side of things. Also, unlike some other combo matchups, Ryan's Show and Tells are actually just good to go. You don't have to worry about any sort of dueling. You know, I put an Emrakul into play, and you put an Emrakul into play, and now we're at parity again. Or, you know, you put an Angel of Despair, and now he doesn't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. So
sure. Omnitel certainly is the, I think, the more explosive of the combo decks. Obviously, Elves, you kind of get a sense of what's going on. You know what's within their range, their capacity. That said, Natural Order has given Elves something very similar to what Show and Tell provides Omnitel with, obviously, with Craterhoof Behemoth allowing you to win from a relatively light board position. Yeah,
it didn't take much for Michael in the first game we had him on camera. It did not take very much for him to just be off to the races.
Yeah.
Played some Mana Elves, his opponent played an Argothian Enchantress, and then his opponent did not get a third turn. And this was without Glimpse. We were just...
Sure, just the natural.
Yeah, just...
The natural.
Yeah. So it looks like Michael's hand's pretty solid here for a mulligan containing both Elvish Visionary and Glimpse.
Yep.
So he might be able to actually combo out fairly fast. I haven't seen the rest of the components, but those are some of the core pieces to be able to go pretty fast.
Searching up Bayou on turn 1. Has another one in his hand, and yeah, he's got a bunch of elves.
And there's a Nettle Sentinel.
Yep. So he can maybe go for like a soft go on turn 2 by casting like another elf, Heritage Druid, paying 3, and then glimpsing and casting Visionary, but that seems like not great.
Right,
probably gonna go slow.
Especially after the mulligan. I think his hand's very well set up to go for turn 3, but
turn 2 or a turn 3 like that one is a little weak.
Although we might not be getting that many turns.
Oh wow, this is a much better mulligan.
Yeah.
So far. Nobody ever did anything all that fun with an Ancient Tomb, and Show and Tell is certainly.
I think the most honest card anyone's ever cast off an Ancient Tomb is Stone Rain, and that's not really the most honest thing either.
Omniscience for Burning Wish.
Okay.
It is an easy game. Petals of Insight.
All right.
And here we go. So Omniscience lets you cast your spells for free. Obviously, it's rules text. And Petals of Insight has the ability to be cast over and over.
Right. So this is just a way to generate a storm count and also stack his deck.
Yeah. It returns itself from the graveyard and allows him to manipulate his library to his content. But Ryan explaining the same thing to Michael. Basically, this is what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to kill you this way with a Grape Shot.
And
I can do it if you'd like. If you just want to concede, then I'm perfectly happy doing that as well. Cast it over and over.
Okay, yeah.
Michael's like, all right, I get the drift.
More time spent explaining Magic, then playing Magic. Welcome to Legacy.
Welcome indeed. Michael's like, all right. I thought we were gonna have a game of gentlemen and Nettle Sentinels, but apparently that's
where's your
not what
lightning
you're
bolt?
here
Where's
for.
your Death Ray Shaman? You know, you got to meet me halfway here. You can't just do that. So, onto the sideboard here, since that was pretty fast. As if this matchup wasn't already solid enough for Ryan, he has 3 copies of Pyroclasm in his sideboard.
Okay.
So I don't know if he wants to bring in all 3 or leave in 2 and have one to wish for or whatever, but he has access to that. The rest of his sideboard appears to be just, he has some clicks and some Pyroblasts that he doesn't really want here, a Pithing Needle, a Caracas, and then what appears to basically just be wish targets. He has Time of Need, where he can find one of his legends if he wants to go off that way. Petals, Show and Tell, Army of the Damned. These are just tutor Burning Wish targets in certain spots with Omniscience.
Yeah.
But I definitely think we'll see at least 2 and possibly 3 Pyroclasms coming in.
I agree with that. I would probably bring in the 2. Army of the Damned is a unique sideboard slot. Over on Michael's side, he has 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Cabal Therapy. I think he's going to bring them in. He has Mindbreak Traps, which are normally not that great against Show and Tell, but because his opponent is on Omniscience Petals, it might actually go off reasonably, especially with the Burning Wish specifically version. If your opponent casts a Show and Tell, it's 1 spell. Burning Wish, that's 2 spells. Whatever they Burning Wish for, that's the 3rd spell. You can stop them. So I imagine he will actually be bringing in his Mindbreak Traps. Along with that, he also has the Harmonic Sliver, which he will be bringing in as its trigger off of Show and Tell, will allow him to keep his opponent from killing him with Omniscience on the spell.
Right. So he's got a little bit of action here, not any real, super hateful cards, but definitely some things that can improve the matchup a bit.
I wouldn't characterize it as exciting. Likewise, he does have Kasali Pride Mage, which does not have Harmonic Sliver's trigger advantage against something like, say, Omniscience into Emrakul, but it can, disrupt the Burning Wish for Petals interaction.
Yeah. And you mentioned, not really sure what the best sneak attack deck is, or the best Show and Tell deck is, but Omnitel definitely the most explosive, and that was...
Yeah. It has a diverse range. Like, I'm talking about these cards, all, like, things like the Kasali Pride Mage and the Mindbreak Trap, those are quite good against Show and Tell into Omniscience into Burning Wish. They're not very good against Show and Tell into Emrakul, Show and Tell into Gristlebrand.
Yeah.
They do perilously little. So that's a concern. And
that's, a lot of the combo decks that we've seen on camera today, a lot of them have different lines that they can go through, depending on what their opponent's doing or sort of what their draw predicates. So, I feel like most of the good sideboarding now against combo decks in this format are not necessarily, all right, I have 4 copies of X. It's, I have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You need some discard and some permission and some hate bears, and you need a mixture of all that kind of stuff to really have a good matchup against these decks.
You have to defend yourself the same way they're attacking you, basically.
Which is all over the place.
Yeah. So it definitely makes for some interesting legacy sideboarding. It also, I think, contributes to some of the strengths of decks like Stoneblade, which we talked about last round. It's just full diversity of threats and answers and the ability to sort through them with Brainstorms and Jaces. Gives it a lot of power, especially in combo matchups, I think.
Yeah. And certainly Omnitel seems pretty sweet if Jund with Grove of the Burn, Willows, and Punishing Fire is a thing that people are up to.
Yeah. Who would be playing that deck?
Yeah. We have Brian Braun doing it off camera.
Watching over us.
Yeah. Turn 1 off a mulligan, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
What do you got over there? Like a
Mull to 6, nut you. Anything else?
You got what do you got in your, you got like a Tarmogoyf and like a Bloodbraid Elf or whatever in your hand? Yeah, I really like the sort of the funny cross-sectionings of Legacy and all the different decks. You often get these games where one person's looking at the other guy like, you shut up with this thing? Didn't you know that Legacy is about X? What are you doing? Yeah. But the decks that get to do that to people sometimes also get that done to them, depending on
it's very true.
On the matchup. So that diversity, even if not all the games are super competitive or the most engaging, just the range of things that can happen is pretty sweet.
Of these players, Ryan Meier is the one on 7 wins. So if he wins, he is a lock for top 8. However, because there really aren't that many players on 7 or more wins, Ryan Meier was 7th seed going in. A win for Michael Thompson should also lock him into top 8. It will certainly do so, actually. So this is a straight-up win and in, despite the players being on disparate records.
Mm-hmm. See Cedric in the background, even on his break, just can't get enough.
Can't stop. Saying
Commentating on some match with
Meier enjoying a delicious treat on his break from the tables. We had 4 buyers because Atlanta's always a busy show.
Yep.
But it's Sunday night. Most of the Magic cards in the room now belong to us.
Gets a little loose. Cedric with the belt buckle unbuckled. It's time to sort of just relax and enjoy ourselves a little bit, Looks like Michael is mulligan and Ryan is keeping, so...
It's never a good sign for Michael, I think.
This could be another quick one.
Omnitel doesn't keep especially loose. It's usually just, can this hand kill the opponent? I guess I'll keep it.
Yeah. And we saw when Michael was playing against elves, it seemed... when he was playing against Enchantress, it's, Michael's deck in the matchup felt entirely unfair. Like, so much faster and more streamlined and consistent.
Green Sun Zenith puts a lot into that matchup, doing so much work with the Pride Mages and the Harmonics. So all you need is that moment where you disrupt them, assuming they were even doing something oppressive enough to start with.
Right. And now in this matchup, it feels...
completely different. It feels like...
he's on the opposite side. Yeah. Oh, Llanowar Elf, huh?
I remember when I played Llanowar Elf.
Yeah, you're just ramming your crawl worm with it.
This is got a couple lands, Deathrite Shaman, some elves. I believe it was Llanowar Elf, Deathrite Shaman, Elvish Visionary, 2 lands, and then another card. But because Michael knows he's facing this combo deck who kept on 7, he can't keep a hand that's just good.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it seems like he's mulliganing for Thoughtseize or some piece of disruption. I mean, he can't just keep a hand of mana creatures and utility, and that's not going to get it done.
Come on, unicorns, let's do this. That's 5.
Please have Tony Chu.
Thoughtseize, I see one.
Okay.
Looks like we don't have a black source though. We have turn 1 Deathrite Shaman. I think we're gonna have to hang on to that though.
Yeah.
Deathrite Shaman, just hope he fetches. That's our game plan. Or we draw a fetch. He declines.
Ooh, Ryan taking his time this game. Just ponders on the first turn.
Man, Ryan's going to take at least 2 turns this game.
We're taking a slow spin around the block.
Yep.
Appears as though he's keeping. Did we rip? No, we ripped an Elvish Visionary.
Looking over at Ryan's side, he has a pair of, it looks like 3 Burning Wishes, 2 Force Wills, a Lotus Petal, and a land, I think. So,
but he kept off his Ponder, so...
He kept his Ponder. That's good news for Ryan.
And there's Omniscience.
Yep, so he's going to just Burning Wish for show and tell here, I imagine.
Judge Fox, decides, please.
And he even has Force of Will to break up the Thoughtseize.
Right, so that's pretty much going to be it, assuming, I believe he needs to draw a 3rd land. Oh no, he has the Lotus Petal. Never mind, he doesn't even need that. Yeah, this will be over on Ryan's next turn. Unless Michael peels... I don't know what he could peel, even. I guess he could go, like, fetch land into Elvish Visionary, drawing Mindbreak Trap, threatening Thoughtseize as well. That's about it, right? I think that's the only line I can think of.
We're talking pretty slim here.
Yeah. Oh, he has the Visionary. Hey, we're halfway there.
Yeah, the hard part's over, right?
The hard part's over.
Burning Wish for... What do you think he's debating about here?
I'm curious myself. He has his opponent dead. Dead with
Well,
backup.
he has to be worried about a piece of disruption, right?
Sure, but he has the Force Will, so it has to be like a pretty specific one.
Yeah, he's just going to get Pyroclasm here.
He's going slow. I guess he figures his opponent's on 5 cards, no need to get too crazy. Sure, I could kill him on turn 3, but let's put on a show. Oh, we did draw our fetch land. See, Michael's got this.
It's a lock. Practically a lock.
He is going to fetch, and I imagine just cast Thoughtseize for starters.
We are looking for... Consulting the sideboard here really quickly.
Interesting. think I just saw Harmonic Sliver, which would be awkward. Obviously, it's not that great odds you draw it, but maybe it was the Gaddock you guys saw.
Not sure where. Are we debating between Savannah and... Okay, we're going to get Savannah.
We're going to get Savannah. Okay. Curious what we're getting Savannah for, I guess. I feel like I want to be able to always cast any discard spells I happen to draw over the course of this game. Kasali Pride Mage is not that great when you know your opponent has Pyroclasm. And the Savannah kind of tips your hand as to what's going on. I feel like we planned a little far ahead. Like, we got a Savannah here in case we draw a white spell, but
sure,
we already have a black spell, and
well, we can still Deathrite Shaman.
I know that we can still Deathrite Shaman, but like we have to use fuel to do that. We didn't have to.
Well, I mean that Deathrite Shaman is just going to die anyway, right?
Right.
But if he's tutoring for Pyroclasm, he's almost certainly just Pyroclasming next turn.
It's possible Michael's plan is to Thoughtseize the Pyroclasm, assuming he's not going to get combo killed. Ryan appears to be debating Force of Willing Elvish Visionary. This is weird. I wouldn't like this play.
Seems safe to let this one go.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. He's...
Drew a glimpse. Well, that's not so bad. He's going to go ahead and Thoughtseize now.
And this should draw a Force of Will.
This should be good enough. And then we're just going to, I imagine, untap Pyroclasm.
Yep. So Force pitching Force.
Pretty difficult to believe anything could be better.
And we get our Beat On. So yeah, I assume we're just going to untap the Pyroclasm. That's the sort of route we've selected here.
Yeah. Michael has Glimpse of Nature and Natural Order in his hand. You can see the chat was a little confused. He does not have a Harmonic Sliver, which would have explained his Savannah. Pyroclasm, mop it. The reason I don't like this Savannah is now that we just got Pyroclasm, like all of our discard spells are bricks, and I feel like they're among our best spells.
Sure.
In contrast to Kasali Pride Mage or Harmonic Sliver, which certainly are not. Bayou, easy.
But sitting on a Glimpse and a Natural Order.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
Nowhere to go, really.
Burning Wish from Ryan. I imagine we'll get the show and tell this time. Oh, do you think it's possible he boarded in his fourth show and tell? Like, assuming his opponent doesn't? No, he didn't do that. Okay.
No, I think you want to, yeah.
I wouldn't, but like, that would have explained turn 2 not Burning Wishing for. Perhaps Ryan was simply satisfied to take things slow against the 5. He's gonna Glimpse.
All right.
He has tapped the Bayou first, though. That's definitely not correct, and he just realized it. Yep. Do you mind? I'm tapping and paying for my spell. Yes. All right. Okay.
Don't let him go back. A kind man.
Mel Sentinel. We're gonna hope to peel the Thoughtseize or Cabal Therapy here.
Ooh, Progenitus.
Progenitus is not what we were hoping for. That said, it's a fine show.
Yeah.
It's a fine show. Should you get the opportunity to put it on.
All right.
I got one for you right here. What's up? Papa P. Burning Wish. I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
Yeah, you got me.
There it is. And yeah, Michael, unfortunately, doesn't really have the tools to compete in this matchup, it feels like. Certainly, you can get some explosive draws, but between the Pyroclasms and the sideboard, and you know, Ryan's sideboard's better. He's way ahead game 1. Not much to be done there.